Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the U.S. Automatic webinar. We had an internal one of these on Tuesday, just for CPSG employees, and it went extremely well. We had a very lively discussion, lots of questions, and I'm assuming we'll have the same here. Before I start that, just a quick introduction on myself. My name's Tim Nordstrom. I manage our gate automation division here at Control Products. My job mainly is spent dealing with all of our wonderful vendors that we have, although I still do a tremendous amount of conversation, tech support, sales support with our customer base as well. Before I kick it off to Nick, what I would like you to do, if you have any questions, if you can utilize the Q&A feature, just type your question in the Q&A. And what I'll do is if it's applicable, I'll answer it in the Q&A. But more than likely, what I'll do is when there's a good moment to pause, I'll ask Nick the question and ask him to address the audience so that he can put more color into it than I certainly could. So with that going forward, again, thank you for attending this U.S. Automatic webinar. It's a fantastic product line and manufacturer. Nick Storms, who knows this product probably just about as good as anybody on the planet, is going to lead us today. Nick, why don't you take it over and introduce your staff that's on here as well?
Yep. So, hey guys, I'm Nick Storms. I am our national sales manager. I have done a little bit of every single division in our company, and this is my 16th year with the company, and I've really enjoyed it. Our overall goal with building gate operators is building something that is American made, and it's going to last 15 to 30 years out in the field. And who I have on the phone here today is Brett McMillan. He is our national sales strategist, and Chuck Blackwell. He is our Eastern sales rep. So let's just kind of kick it off and kind of show who we are. So the very first product I like to go into is our Patriot. This is our flagship model. This is our number one seller. This is used on a lot of residential and commercial operators across the nation. It's rated for 16 foot, 800 pounds, 20 foot, 300 pounds. And, you know, if we get into a shorter gate, we can get that weight to go up. But what's really utilized real well with this operator is that 24-inch stroke really gets out on the end of that gate, which eliminates, for the most part, people having to use mag locks, solenoid locks, because it really keeps that gate driven into a catch extremely well under high winds. And those high winds can get up to 80, 85. Up here in North Texas, we get those kind of winds all the time. And so when we started developing this actuator over 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, you know, we really wanted something that was going to hold up in long-term and be long-term durability. So the whole exterior of this actuator is stainless steel. The whole interior of this actuator is stainless steel. And almost every single part that you see on that picture has a serviceable part number. So you could rebuild this in the field, on the tailgate of your truck. You could rebuild this at your shop. It makes this thing very utilized for a wide variety of situations. That's why this operator would be the number one choice for installers that's been using our products for a lot of the commercial sites, because they can rebuild over and over when somebody hits the gate. What another thing that I like to point out is, with being American made, you know, the one question I get quite often is tariffs applying to you guys and all that? The answer is no. So we're not going to have these immediate price increases or anything like that. But getting back to the actuator, this is a very fast opening and closing. It's 11 to 13 seconds. And every single one of our US automatic kits come with a set of photo eyes and 2 transmitters. So when you're comparing us to some of our competitors on the market, you can't just kind of go this part number to part number, if you will, because we are including receiver, photo eye. Pretty much overall, when you grab a US automatic operator off the shelf, it's going to have everything you need for a basic install. The only thing that you will have to get separately is a battery. And other than that, I'm going to kind of go into a little bit of detail on the cabinet as well. So when this is opened up, there's stud standpoints. Everything can be put together in about 5 minutes. So it's extremely quick. You can weld this cabinet. It has vents on the sides of the cabinets to keep wasps and everything out from getting in. It's lockable. It's a CH751 key for those who find that important. So there's a good chance that you already have that on your key ring. And how we're doing the limits on the Patriot is there's a screwdriver slot back here that you stick a flathead in and adjust the limits. It's backed by a 3 and 5 year warranty. So what that means is everything besides the circuit board is a 3 year warranty, and the circuit board is a 5 year warranty. Looking at the circuit board, as you can see, we like to keep everything simple. So our operators are extremely plug and play. They can only go in one direction. Our receivers, everything is going to be a plug and play aspect. All of our accessory inputs is also in one plug. So if you're swapping a board, anything like that, you're just matching dip switches and then popping it in. And that's how quickly you can get, switch out a board. Something very, very helpful for a lot of the installers is we introduced a low battery monitoring system into our operators. So basically what that means is at around 10.8 volts, it's going to get an audible alarm. And around 10.2, it'll go into a fail safe or fail secure situation. So if that battery gets weak 3-4 years down the road, there's plenty of warning for that homeowner to give you guys a call and let you know, hey, this battery is getting weak. And that's going to be roughly about 60 to 100 cycles, give or take, before it goes into a failure mode. So you have plenty of time to address it. Another key point I like to point out is we have a fully adjustable soft start and soft stop. So these three switches right here are going to allow us to be very fine tuned on how we want this gate to start up and slow down. No gate design is the same. So we're giving the control, we're giving the ability for somebody to control how fast and how slow we really want this thing to go throughout its cycle. The other unique thing is it also adapts to that gate. So what that kind of means is as it learns how the wind is reacting with the gate and as it's just running on its normal day, it starts adapting to slow it down more aggressively or realizes it doesn't have to slow down more aggressively at the end of the cycle. So with that as well, we've added independent gate sensitivities many, many years ago because one gate could have a little bit more drag to it than the other. And so you have that independent sensitivity. Another unique feature that a lot of the installers and just people in general love is we've added a emergency override button that you press and hold, and it'll run the gate to its limit, and it'll automatically stop on its own. So where that comes in handy is if a contact edge or a photo eye gets broken, whatever it is, we can still run the gate as long as we are holding that button. And the moment that we release, the gate will stop running. Also, we have a plug and play Wi-Fi module port. So for our Wi-Fi module, which I will go into more detail here shortly, it just plugs and plays right into that port that we see right here. For diagnostics, it's very simple. You'll see right over here, this white text box. It's just a few LED lights. If you're having a problem with an operator, you hold the LED indicator. It's going to tell you if we have a fault. If the battery has gotten weak at some point through the cycle, this battery status light will actually blink at you. So you could also, just on your normal maintenance run, see that if this battery is starting to get weak and catch it before it goes into a failure point. So all of our boards also have both gate ports. So if you buy a single operator, you're still getting a board with 2 ports. So that allows you to be cut down on keeping multiple circuit boards on the shelf. Any questions about the Patriot so far?
Nothing in the Q&A just yet.
Okay.
One thing, I really want to say is having that selectable soft start, and being able to, with those switches on the side, to be able to deal with a tricky situation such as a windy environment is something that's rather unique, and I think it should really be called out. And that could be something where maybe certain environments, this is definitely would put this operator at the top of the list.
Yeah. I mean, it knows that difference between a current sense or that bouncing wind load, if you will. And so when it sees that it's just that wind load, it's going to drive it still to its location unless it comes to a complete halt. And it's one of those things that you kind of have to see in person to really understand. But when everybody does come back to me and says, "Hey, I watched it," it's very unique, it's very safe, and it's something that definitely sets us aside from competition in the industry. So let's talk about, so some may know about this board. This was kind of our tried and true at the beginning of our company. So this was the old Patriot board. We still offer it. It's a backwards compatible board. It's a 1 year warranty. And basically, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's just what we see is this board is being utilized more for possibly some other brand operators more than our own. The guys that are using our operators, they're using the newer boards because they see how much more advanced it is over the old technology. So it's still just as reliable. It's just we added a lot more software to be able to really be in that in my opinion the modern terms, right? So you could still get this board. It's got a 1 year warranty versus a 5 year warranty. And something that is also really important is when you buy our UL 325 circuit board lines, we're going to give you the full warranty, just like if you were buying an operator. The reason why we're doing that is we know the installers are put in a tight spot when they're having to go update the system to the current UL standard. So we're giving you that carrot to be able to get that thing, you know, if a customer is just wanting to replacement board and trying to fight putting in contact edges and photo eyes, we've given you that carrot to dangle in front to get a 5 year warranty on the circuit board. So that's another useful tool. Now, going back into talking about how we can get on really heavy gates and do the things that we do, here's just some examples. So that's a very heavy gate. I personally worked with this customer on the project many years ago. This is a 12-foot, give or take. I think it was 1,200 pounds. So it's a very heavy gate. It's up in Colorado. It takes a massive amount of wind all the time. And you'll notice there's no mag locks. There's not even stop plates. And these actuators hold it just fine. Another thing that I like to point out is let's talk about both. I'm going to kind of skip ahead here, but the Patriot can do this as well. So what makes us really unique with that 24-inch stroke actuator is it does allow us to get on 24 by 24, 36 by 36 rock columns. There is some design that goes into that, and I'd be happy to elaborate that more later on the Q&A. But I do want everybody to realize that our operators can replace an expensive pad mount articulating arm if it's needed, and it'll save the customer money and save install time. So I do want everybody to know that. But getting back to let's talk about the Ranger HD, unless we have any more questions on the Patriot. Or
we do have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
What the question is, I'll read it verbatim, says, does the emergency switch run in one direction only?
No, it goes both directions. So if the gate is stuck open, you can run it closed. If the gate's stuck closed, you can run it open. So it will go in both directions.
Thank you.
And like I like to elaborate, you don't have to stop it. You don't have to let off on your own. It's going to hit the limit and stop itself.
That was it for now.
All right. So let's talk about the Ranger HD. So this operator we released in 2019, and we know that we have many customers across the nation that loved our Patriot, but they wanted something a little bit more modernized and the limits to be done differently. And so this is when we came out with the Ranger HD. So you'll notice when you're looking at the specs, it's pretty much identical to a Patriot, but it was built to be different. So the first thing I like to emphasize is all the limits are done on the circuit board by these 4 dials up here at the top. So instead of doing mechanical limits, we're doing it all on the circuit board. But also we've updated the technology in this to be very unique from our competitors by using some proprietary equipment in the internals. So without going into too much detail there, this is driven by a ball screw. And what that ball screw allows us to do is really gain about 80% more efficiency than the standard lead screws that you see in our industry. So what that allowed us to do is move really heavy gates extremely smooth while cutting down the current draw of the operator. So the overall goal why we wanted to do this was we have a lot of unique coastal situations that this actuator really fit in and pretty much checked every checkbox. So you'll notice that this actuator is not stainless steel externally. It is internally, but the whole exterior is an aluminum housing. So this is going to hold up on any type of corrosive environment extremely well. And then we kind of double down where we have two cabinet options. We have the plastic cabinet that comes fully assembled from our facility. And we have as an option the metal cabinet, which is the same as the Patriot. It is still including a set of photo eyes and two transmitters. You'll notice that the speed is almost identical. And just like the Patriot, the Ranger HD and the Patriot are going to have push or pull to open brackets included with the kit. So when you open up that hardware, you're going to be able, you're not going to have to go back to CPSG and pick up different hardware if you're needing to do a push to open install. It's everything is there already in the box. Any questions so far?
Good so far.
Okay. So you'll notice a lot of similarities to our Ranger HD board to our Patriot board. We have that green plug that has the 12 ports. All the terminals are exactly the same. So if you know one board, you know this board kind of deal. The soft starts are in a different location. They're just right here. The emergency override is right here, but the toggle switches are almost identical to the Patriot board as well. So I really like to emphasize you learn one of our operators and you're going to learn the rest of them. And so it makes it really unique and very easy to start using our operators and to really work on them. So now the Ranger HD is backed all across the board by a 3-year warranty. And let's show you some pictures of some of the gates that's moving. So I kind of already showed this one earlier. This is a really big gate. It holds up the wind extremely well. And there's kind of given a little bit more example, just actually staying on the slide of it can be done on these big rock columns and still get the correct geometry. Another thing that I like to show is this picture right here, just because those who do gate fabrication know this is a really heavy gate. It's steel framed with the wood overline and or overlay, and this gate's been in operation for now 8 years, 9 years. It's one of our first prototype locations. So going into the little brother. So we have two Rangers, and the easy way for everybody to memorize this is HD is the big brother, 500 is the little brother. The Ranger concept is just the line because the circuit boards are almost identical. They're just different colors. And so what we did, we had the Ranger 500 released back in 2008. And we've been running the same actuator until last summer. And we've been in the works for many years on redeveloping that actuator into something that is just far superior than what we had before. Don't get me wrong, the old actuator was great, but we really wanted to address and attack a lot of the things that customers were asking to see. So when you're looking at this actuator, it looks very similar to a smaller HD, and that was one of the things that we really wanted. But this is a 16-inch stroke actuator. It's moving 400-pound 13-foot gates, 20-foot 250-pound gates, and when we get into shorter gates, we can up that weight all the way up to about 650 and possibly even more depending on gate specs, which if you ever have those questions, you can contact your sales rep or myself. The gate speed opening and closing is going to be comparable to almost all the other competitors in the market. It's just not going to be in the fastest opening and closing that we can possibly do, which is that 11 to 13 second. This also has a 3-year warranty, but that whole exterior of the actuator is also metal, including the internal. So what our goal was to get us in an operator that was in kind of the budget or entry level operator, but still have the quality, the high quality and reliability of our upper line. So MSRP pricing on a single AC version of this operator is 1,700-ish dollars. So you're going to be able to compete with a lot of the budget style operators, but get something that's American made and made to last for 15, 20 years in the field. Um, Going into the board, you'll notice a lot of the similarities that you saw on the HD. Like I said, without boring everybody, the only real difference between that is the color, but everything else is the same except for some software stuff. Now, going into the old, maybe some of you know the old, maybe some don't, but let's kind of go into the differences and the big jumps that we did in our opinion. So the harness for this guy, you would have to open up this to replace it, and it wasn't very hard, but it was just a little bit time consuming. With the new actuator, it's plug and play. So there's a screw here that holds this whole plate. It comes out, it can only go in one way. Tighten down the screw. You've changed a harness in less than 30 seconds. We also changed from kind of that roundish look that we used to have to get into that square, which fits a lot of the more modernized gates. It looks really good. It blends really well. The old style also had a aluminum powder coated cover tube, where here we're just doing anodizing all across the board on the exterior. We also updated the drive bearings, so this thing is running a lot more quiet and a lot more smooth. We updated going to a stainless steel clevis mount. So instead of having this cast aluminum that could possibly break under high winds, now we're just like the HD. We have this very stout stainless steel clevis. And also what's unique about this actuator is you can have it vertically or horizontally. You'll notice that there's 4 holes going around this, and you can rotate this actuator if needed to get into really tight spots. We had a lot of customers asking us to change from the brass eye bolt to a steel eye bolt for cosmetic purposes in those coastal environments. We added a much more powerful motor to it, but something that a lot of people are really liking is our into travel kill switches. So what that means is if the cable becomes damaged, at that point, the actuator isn't going to jam up. It's going to kill itself if it tries to overextend or over retract, which then as soon as you fix that damaged cable, it's going to go right back into working. You don't have to do anything unique to get that thing back in order. So addressing all these things, we've shipped over 1,800 of these actuators over the last year with 0 returns, and we're extremely proud of that. And we every single one of these and the rest of our products is tested before it goes out the door. So having something that is bad on site right out of the box is almost it's almost unheard of with our company. So we take a lot of pride in our manufacturing, and we never want you guys to ever be in a situation that you can't complete a job the day that you open up that box. So that's the is there anything on this guy before I go into examples what it
Well,
can go?
there is a question. I
Yeah.
was going to try to answer it separately, but let's go with this. It says they've got an application for a replacement where they cannot use solar, but the customer has 18 volts there that's currently powering a Mighty Mule. Can they power a Ranger 500 with this voltage?
Well, not without the technical answer is all of our systems run off a 12-volt battery. So if you're going to do direct power, you would have to have a power supply. And I'd be happy to go over that. I've done this kind of situation before, but I think this would probably be about a 10 to 15 minute like specking conversation. So we can certainly address it at the end.
Perfect.
So just showing some gates, because a lot of people look at the Ranger 500 and they're thinking, oh, the ranch gates or anything like that. No, we're being put on real, ornamental iron gates that are heavy, and it's holding those gates closed and without breaking anything. So just showing an example, this gate's up in Montana. But another thing I like to show is when we get into those ranch gates, if you will, What you'll find here is I like to highlight we do have an option for bolt-on hardware for the Ranger 500 line. It is not included with the kit, but it's an inexpensive add-on that you can do if you're doing wood post or if you're doing like a lot of our Florida customers, they're doing a lot of aluminum. So you're not going to weld those brackets to an aluminum gate. So you can opt in to get the bolt-on hardware where we source all the lag bolts and everything you need to do that as a bolt-on hardware kit. I saw the chat drop down. Was there another question, Tim?
Um, nope, everything, yep,
Everything's good? Okay.
everything's good.
So let's talk about our slide gate. So we have been building this. This is our second product on the line. We have put in some updates over the last couple of years, which is this new motor. We ran this old motor for all those years and then going into this new motor. The overall reason why we want to do this is we have more control over that pulse modulation stop start that we were talking about earlier. And it's been a very big jump to a lot of the installers that's used this operator. But we're moving gates 1 foot per second and up to 32 foot in travel at 1,000 pounds. But what makes us really unique is we have three options on how we can do this: pad, pedestal, or 4-inch square post. So that's 4-inch square post. What it looks like is this is the frame that it comes with. So there's nothing that you need to do to alter to get that 4-inch post in there. You're just sliding in the 4-inch post. You can prefab this before you even go to the job site. You immediately pull it out of the box, weld it in, go out to the job site, set it in the hole, quickcrete it, concrete it, however you want to go. And most of the time, guys are putting in a slide gate in 1 day. So it eliminates, it cut down the overall purpose why we wanted that 4-inch is we're cutting down the cost and the time for your average slide gate install, but also keeping it extremely pest deterrent. So giving an example of what that post mount looks like, we're not at that point, that's in the center. So we're not going to have mice getting inside there and everything like that because they're not able to get into the control box. But also where that's utilized is, and this is more so with a lot of government projects, they're in a lot of floodplain areas. So they have to get this operator up kind of pretty high on cantilever gates. And so they're going to do that post mount to really get that thing off the ground and keep it where it's not going to get into the flooding areas. So another thing I like to point out is when you're looking at this circuit board, you'll notice the similarities before to the Patriot swing. And before 2016 period, the Patriot circuit board would actually operate both versions, the swing and the slide. But the only big difference that you're going to see from the slide gate versus the swing gate is you are going to need two photo eyes or one contact edge to be wired into that unit in order to get into the minimum requirement from UL 325. I will note that we include 2 sets of photo eyes with every one of our RSL kits. So versus the swing being 1. Is there any, well, before I kind of go into the cabinet and the frame, is there any questions so far on that subject? No.
Nothing in the Q&A. Nope, we're good.
Gotcha. So before I go into that, the 3 and 5, basically the same thing as the Patriot. We've been doing it since the very beginning of our company. And so we're going to keep honoring that. This ABS molded cover will last for a very long time, 20, 25 years. And even that, we've seen it go way further. But another unique thing is if we ever get into an emergency situation that we have to manually move this gate, the cover on this operator never has to be removed for that situation. This silver medallion plate that you see right here, there's let's kind of get into a little bit what it looks like. We can put a combination lock through there. And then once we take the combination lock, you'll be able to rotate that disc plate. And in here, it only takes 6 pounds of pressure for you to pull that knob to disengage that gate and be able to move it in and out. To re-engage it, same thing, just slightly moving the gate with your hand and pushing in on the pull knob. It'll click in and you're back in engagement. Um, Another thing that I like to point out is we've created a lot of spacing underneath this frame. So if you are doing pad mount, you're going to be able to navigate all your 110 and your accessory wiring very easily underneath this frame while allowing plenty of airflow to go through here. So we typically don't ever sell replacement frames, even out in some of our customers in the very harsh corrosive environments. With it being powder coated and with this thing being completely hand built from us, these things are made to last 20, 25 years in the field with up to 200 cycles a day. If you have a job site that you're wanting to go up to 200 cycles or more, I would either my sales team or myself would like to be involved in that conversation. We see it often, but there needs to be some talk through. And just showing here, just like I said, just kind of going back through the photos and how clean and simple it is. This is what's included with every single one of our operators. This is our what we call our LCR, which stands for low current receiver. It's a 433.92 operating frequency. So basically what we usually see is 300 feet, 100 yards range out of our wireless accessories. It's extremely solar friendly. It's less than 1 milliamp. What's also really unique is all of our receivers, we have two relay outputs. So essentially making it simple, P1 is going to operate the gate, stop the gate, reverse the gate, but P2 is what is going to use latch mode, or what a lot of people like to call it party mode. So right out of the box, you're able to do more than what a lot of our competitors are able to do. And like I said, this is built into the system. You are built into the kit, so you're not having to buy this externally. Now I will note this is a 12 volt only receiver. So I usually say primarily used with US Automatic Systems, but I do know people put it on other brands as well. But please keep in mind, anything above 14 volts is going to blow the power input on this receiver. But if you're doing other brand operators and you love our accessory line, this is why we developed the 1224 universal receiver. So this is AC or DC, still 433.92 megahertz on the operating frequency. But now we have a little bit more control in making this a universal receiver. So we have the ability to do that party mode or momentary on both P1 and P2. And that sequence right there is one of the key features why a lot of our security guys are using this for some more orthodox stuff, like 12 volt or 24 volt landscape lights, or tying into the 2-button station on a garage door so that they can get some further distances when they're further down the driveway to operate it. You can use this, like I said, on other brand operators. It's normally closed and normally open relay contacts. So this is a very powerful universal receiver that still is on a very low current draw. Any questions there?
Yeah, so what we got, it's a good solar question, a couple of them. It says, is the slider as solar friendly as the swing gates?
Yep, just as friendly. The circuitry, the standby current draw, and pretty much everything is identical.
Perfect. I just think maybe a slide gate might draw a little bit more energy when it's moving, but that's
Yeah.
probably negligible.
Well, because of that and yes, typically that would be the case, but with us doing that transmission, it's kind of hard to see in that. But um, you could see we've done that gear ratio transmission, and so it's really taking a lot of that pull. Now, the kind of the variable there is, a 16-foot opening is going to pull less than a 31-foot opening.
Exactly.
It's the time traveled.
The runtime.
But we include 10-watt solar panels with every kit, and it's pretty uncommon that we have to upgrade from that situation. But I'm I'm actually working on a new solar calendar that is going to be open to the public, which is going to make that conversation extremely easy, where you don't even have to call me. But overall, yes, it's just as efficient as the swing gates. It's shutting down a lot of the accessory terminals when it's not needed, which is standby current draw on this operator for those, which that kind of question, I figured this is important. About 12 to 13 milliamp standby current draw, which comes out to be about 300 for a 24-hour period for a day.
That's so low, very low. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um, there is another question here. The party mode on the receiver, that's going to lock the gate open. Will
correct.
that supersede anything else? I think what they're asking by that, if that is initiated, nothing else is going to allow that gate to close until we remove that party mode feature or latch, correct?
That is correct. So it's going to override. It's going to override everything. So if they typed in a keypad code that usually opens and closes the gate, that's going to be overridden. The easy way that I like to explain this in my factory training classes is it's pretty much acting like a Knox box. It's bypassing everything. It's locking it open and staying open until you turn that latch feature off.
And another question, it's a good one here. Is one battery the same for all openers? And
Yep.
it says, what charger do you suggest if using supplied 110? Give us a moment on that because Nick's going to answer that in a moment. But
Yep. Yeah. So our I mean, we understand that guys like to put some bigger batteries and all that, but we typically see 12 volt, 35 amp hour AGM slash SLA batteries being great for 95% of the installs. But there's a lot of variables to that subject, so I won't go into that because that could be an hour webinar alone or more. But yes, it's 12 volt, 35 amp hour batteries as the minimum requirement across all US automatic gate operators.
if for some crazy reason someone wanted to go bigger battery, maybe they wanted to put two 12 volt 35s, would that fit in the most enclosures?
Um, it would in our lockable metal cabinet. It certainly would in the RSL, but I would be on the aspect of instead of doing two 35 amp hours, I would rather you do one 75 amp hour battery. Now, when
Which
it
would
comes,
have a better chance of fitting.
correct, yeah.
Perfect.
And so with the plastic cabinets, basically the Ranger HD and the Ranger 500, that plastic cabinet is only going to fit a 35 amp hour battery, but that operator is actually more efficient than the Patriot line. So it's extremely rare that we ever even see, even in the metal cabinets, that Ranger customers will put bigger than a 35 amp hour battery because the standby current draw on that operator is closer to 280 for a 24-hour period. So it's even more efficient. So for the most part, not needed. Yeah, maybe you throw a little bit bigger solar panel if it's a high cycle continuous duty site, which I did miss that earlier. I do want everybody to know with being stainless steel gearboxes, we are continuous duty. We don't need a shutdown period or anything like that. It can just run and run and run. Um, but it's getting back to the big battery. It's actually pretty rare that I see even the Ranger guys that are doing the metal cabinet go to a bigger battery. But you certainly can. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yep, we're good there. I know you'll get to the charger in just a moment.
Yep. So these are the transmitters that are included with every kit. These we've had around for many years. They're tried and true. They're very durable. Battery life, typically what we see is 7 to 10 years out of them. Very easy to program. Once you program one remote, you're going to just open up this battery compartment. You'll notice when this is open, all 9 of these dip switches are down. You're going to change your dip switches, program the remote, and then from there, any additional transmitters, you're just matching the dip switches and it goes into working immediately. Button 1 and 2 are independent frequencies, so they're not going to cross contaminate. What most customers like to do is use the left button for opening and closing the gate, the right button for that latch mode slash party mode. Going into if you have multiple gate operators on the property or you're using those 1224 receivers to do some orthodox stuff on the property, now you can kind of kick into using a 4-button transmitter. roughly about the same price as two button, just a little bit more expensive. Same function, same programming, very easy to use. But if you're looking for a more modern transmitter, we released these 2 years ago. They've been doing really good for us. These are our two button premium transmitters. Um, a lot of the programming and all that is similar to the old styles, but instead of those physical switches that we have in the old styles, what we now have is what we like to call virtual switches. So, needless to say, that should be a last ditch effort to program, because every one of these remotes has a unique ID similar to an RFID tag roll. So you open up a box of 10, 1 out of 10, or 2 out of 10, etc. But it goes all the way up to 700,000. But with that, you can do it that way, or you can do the cloning. And that's what most of these installers are doing. It takes 3 seconds to do. Hold the top button, hold the bottom button, take an existing remote that's already programmed, press any of the buttons, and this remote becomes cloned immediately, both button and button two, or button one and button two. It's a smaller remote. It really blends into the visors on vehicles. Another thing that I like to point out is we have seen vehicles 2014 up be able to be programmed in a lot of the car built-in buttons, if you will. So most of those are going to go up to 450 megahertz these days. So if your customer really wants everything to be programmed into the car, take a programmed US automatic remote, hold the button that you're wanting, and now at that point, it's going to be able to be programmable. That's just a fun fact I'm tossing in there for you. Any questions on the programming on this guy?
So far, so good.
Okay. If you need a 4 button, just like the old styles, if you need a 4 button version, we have that as well. Programming is exactly the same. It's very easy to use. Simple. Now, this item right here, this is the one I really like to talk about. This is very inexpensive and one of the easiest upselling items that anybody can do if they're talking about it. It's a wireless push to operate button. So where this comes in handy, you can mount this on golf carts or tractors, hidden areas for the latch mode. You can do all kinds of things with it. Side by sides. I personally have about 4 of these at my house. I have them all over the place doing different things. It's like I said, it's one of the easiest upselling items, and it's extremely durable. It's going to hold up to any type of weather. The only thing I'll say there is it can't be submergible, so as long as you're not doing anything crazy with that side by side going into mud holes, it's going to hold up really well. And the battery life on it is really good. It's going to last about 30 to 40 months in that range, depending on how much you're using. So it's a great option. You're just waving the palm of your hand near it. Something that we've seen over the last couple of years that this is being used for, that I like to now toss out, is a lot of the boarding horse ranches like to put these on tall gooseneck mounts, so they never even have to bend over when they're on their horses going into different hay pastures and things like that to ride. They can just walk right by it, trigger it, and go on with their day. It's going to have the same range as our transmitters and our keypads, about 100 yards, 300 feet. So very long distance. I'm going to wait a second because I'm sure I'm going to have a question here.
And just real quick, go over the range again. Just make sure everyone understands the ranges.
Yeah. So all of our wireless accessories are going to have 300 feet / 100 yards. And we've seen that range be a lot further than that. But typically when I'm going to be telling people that are calling the office or talking to me, typically 300 feet, 100 yards. And that's all because we're using that 433.92 megahertz frequency, which penetrates really well through a lot of radio interference and a lot of kind of things that can cause signal blockage. And if anybody would like a detailed explanation on that, I am certainly happy to explain that at the very end. But is that kind of what you were looking for there, Tim? Or
100%.
okay. So Going into we have three keypad options. This is our basic keypad. It's got a really long battery life off a CR123A battery, 36 months. It's a very simple and inexpensive keypad, and it's very durable. It's going to hold up to all kinds of weather. 24 different access codes. It's keeping it simple on the budget jobs, if you will. But this is our most common and sold wireless keypad. This is our premium metal, 256 access codes, 256 temporary access codes. What that means is I can program a bunch of temporary codes 1 through 9 uses that after it hits its limit, it automatically deletes itself. This also has a low illumination mode. So as you can see right here where my cursor is, when it gets into a very dark environment, it's going to give a nice low illumination white light on all the keys, which is going to light that up just enough where we're hoping to prevent it getting hit from trailers and people backing out of their driveways. But if it does, this is where we came up with this idea of this backplate. This backplate's going to mount to any universal gooseneck mount, but we made this housing to be a breakaway from that housing there. So if the customer backs into it, if there's a situation like that, this housing is going to break away, and most likely this front face plate, since it's all metal, is going to hit the ground. Yeah, it might have a little scuff here and there, but you have the ability to replace this back plate without having to buy a whole new keypad. So we're giving that option to you guys for that situation. The long battery life, this is no joke. With one battery that we include with the kit, it's a CR123A. It's going to give us 30 months of life. If we add the optional second, it's going to double that. Using the low illumination mode is optional, and it's only going to affect the battery life by about 2 months overall. Any questions there?
I think we're good.
Okay. I don't think I mentioned it. These are all CNC precision cut keys. So when you're pressing them, blue light's going to come on so you can see that at nighttime as well. Going into our hardwire keypad, we're really proud of this. We really we had a very wide request for this keypad off the wireless, and what we wanted to do was really make this thing stout and stand out to a lot of our competition in this market. 1,000 access codes, exit request, 2 relay outputs, 1 through 99 seconds, so we can do pulsing. So where a lot of our security guys were using this for is pool gates, overhead doors, mag locks for door facilities that they didn't want to have a lot of the higher up cost or higher up abilities that if it's not needed. This is a great keypad that's about $60 to $70 cheaper than all of our competition right now. If you know the programming on the wireless, then you'll know the programming on the hardwired, and it's a phenomenal keypad. It's been really good to us. Going into our 7-day timer, a lot of people overlook this because a lot of the timers in our industry, they all look very similar. But this is what I like to highlight here. Less than 1 milliamp of standby current draw. So for the guys doing a lot of solar operators, this is great. You don't even have to calculate this really into your overall scheme, whether it be a US automatic or a non-US automatic install. Now, I will note this is 12 volt only. So if you're going to put this on a 24 volt system, don't blow up the power input. You'll need a 12 volt transformer that doesn't give above 14 volts in order for that to work. There's only 3 wires, power, ground, and normally open. But just like the rest of our wireless and hardwired accessories, if you kill power to this, and plug it back in, the programming is stored. So as soon as you plug it back in, the keypads, the everything, you're not going to have to reprogram into the receiver and do all that like possibly some of the other competitors. Any questions? Is there anything in the chat?
There was a question. I answered it, but I'll let you do it. It was a good question. It said, can they equally upsize the solar panel on a slide gate and a swing gate?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think in a few slides it's going to answer a lot of this. And I do like that everybody's really asking about that subject, because that's my favorite subject that I like to educate people on.
We
But
have one more here.
yeah, yeah,
Do the keypads have a party mode programming, and more specific, can the wireless one be programmed to the LCR P2 for party mode?
absolutely. So
Great
you're just going
question.
to program a different access code. So you're just going to program a separate access code from that normal that's going to P1. And when you type in that code, it's going to register to that receiver that it's the P2 and lock it open. Um, all of our accessories can go into either P1 or P2. Like kind of what I was talking about here at my house, I have my hidden button programmed to the P2 relay. And the reason for that is if I have some of my family members or friends coming over to the house, I can just walk over to this hidden area where I have it, put the palm of my hand over it, trigger the gate, it locks it open and bypasses that auto close timer. So you can program even the wireless single buttons to either P1 or P2. And for my second one that I have at my house, I have it on my zero turn mower. It's right underneath my seat. So all I have to do is when I'm going out the property and I'm riding on the mower, I can reach down there, hit the palm of my hand on it, go out to the front and go mow. And the gates are going to auto close. But when I'm ready to come back in, put the palm of my hand on there. Now I don't have to carry around a transmitter.
Thanks, Nick.
Hopefully that addressed it. Gave some
Yep.
other ideas there.
Yeah, we got about 8 minutes left on our
Yep.
times.
Yep. So I'm almost there. So our solenoid, our electric gate lock. This is a really great gate lock, not just for our operators, but for other brands only. It is 12 volt only, so please keep that in mind. But you'll notice that this is a very high quality, solid lock. If we have bolt on or weld on ability on applications. We do include all the hardware if you're needing to do bolt on, but we've also added a slide track adjustable mount here so that if we get into that situation where the hinges aren't adjustable, we can get away with it for a little bit longer by just adjusting the catch. It has a removable strike pin, so a lot of customers like to put a padlock through there, and basically at that point, why we wanted this instead of a key is we wanted the mechanical aspects of this to be able to hold up to really high wind and high stress situations, and not have the ability to be tampered with. So having that strike pin, that being removable with a lock through it, just detours that much better. Going into our Wi-Fi module, this is something that we're really proud of. It's called our US Automatic Smart App, and we have some really unique features. Setting up this thing, guys, it takes 3 minutes of your time. And what's unique is we have the ability to do Wi-Fi or Bluetooth controlled. So why I like to highlight this is the day you go install the operator, if they don't have Wi-Fi down at the gate location, you still can set this device up. And the moment that the Wi-Fi gets down at the gate location, this will automatically go online. And if it needs an update, it'll update, but everything can be done on the day of install instead of having to go back. But with that Bluetooth technology, you can also use your phone as a remote. This acts just like a receiver. So where that comes into play is with some of our shared usability when we're sharing with users. Like something very unique is Bluetooth activation only. So when you share to a user, if you enable that situation, the user that you share to has to be within 25 to 30 feet of the gate in order for it to trigger. But we also have geofencing technology. So what that basically means is we set a radius around the gate location, and when you're going 15, 20 miles per hour or faster into that radius, it'll automatically trigger the gate to open. So if you're going for a walk, because we get this question a lot, if you're going to walk your dog or doing anything like that, it's not going to trigger. But if you're driving in a vehicle, it's automatically going to trigger and open that gate. As of right now, it's only shared up to 10 users, but a lot of updates to this is coming. I can't go into too much detail, but I promise everybody is going to be really excited, and it's all software based. So if you buy this module today, down the road, you're going to wake up one day and there's going to be a lot of features that you're going to really like. And I know what the question is, so I'll just go ahead and address it now, Tim. We we built this for U.S. automatic gate operators and our operators alone. We are aware that a lot of installers have figured out how to put it on other brand operators, but I will say our technical support division cannot support unless it's being put on U.S. automatic operators.
Just leave it at that. That's fine. That's perfect. It's a great product for your product. There is a question that I like, and I don't even know the answer is, can the app, when used on your operator, have a 7-day timer built onto it? Or do I got to add that separate?
Yep, it is built in. So uh, right now, current day, you would turn off the auto close timer on the circuit board, and then you could set your 7-day schedule or 7-day timer schedule.
Perfect.
I think that's the first time somebody's actually asked me that question.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yep. Yeah, you can do 7-day timer, and you can also do uh one off uh just quick timers. So like at my house, if I know that the landscape company is going to come over in 25 minutes, I can go right here to this icon. Its schedule is the 7-day timers, but this right here is just a one-time use timer. I can either open the gate or close the gate by a set time. It's just a one-time trigger.
Perfect.
Any questions on the app?
I think we're good.
Okay. Photo wise, I'm going to go real quickly through this. 1224 AC, DC, 10K, non 10K, normally open, normally closed. What that just means is this is very universal across almost every operator in the industry. But what makes us really unique is instead of reflector style, we love infrared through beam. So we're going to get far range, 42 feet. But when we get moisture and fog, we're going to be able to penetrate that while making these photo eyes extremely easy to line up. All the hardware is included with the kit. And if we're using the battery on the far side instead of hardwiring, it's going to give us about 24 to 28 months of operation. But if we're doing dual systems, our 40-foot cable that comes with every kit is going to be able to have an extra 2 wires on it that you can use to hardwire these if you're already going underneath the driveway.
Got about 2 minutes left, Nick.
Yep. This is our upgrade metal photo eye kit. So if you're hardwiring both sides and you're needing some really far range, 65 feet, what makes these really unique is the emitter inside these are going to rotate 180 degrees, making this very easy to recess into rock walls, brick walls, etc. These are very, very stout with security screws included. They're optional. We give multiple, but they do have security screws as well. Now, the final thing is the whole solar and AC aspect. So I want everybody to know that the only difference between an AC US automatic operator and a solar US automatic operator is an AC is going to come with this transformer. A solar is going to come with this solar panel, but both are plugging into this barrel plug, or we can hardwire non-US automatic transformers and solar panels into these ports right here. So you can adapt these ARD units at the fly very inexpensively without having to change a charger, a circuit board, a receiver. Everything in the kit is exactly the same besides those 2 part numbers right there. This charger will go up to 24-volt systems. I see this used in a lot of other brand operators. Just keep in mind that we can only go up to 120 watts of solar panel. It's a 10 amp output. And that USB port, I do get this question quite a bit. You can use it to charge cellular hotspots if they don't have Wi-Fi down at the gate. A lot of people like to plug in a cellular hotspot into that to keep it charged at all times. That's for our Wi-Fi module. I'm
All
sure I'm
right.
going to have questions on this one.
Let me get over here. There is one question. Important to note, they say it will not handle 24 volts. This is a 12-volt system.
No, it goes up to 24. We see a lot of customer. I mean, we didn't do a lot of intense testing with 24-volt operating systems, but we have a lot of customers that are putting it on other brand operators daily.
You're talking about the charge controller, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not exactly sure the question that might, but yeah, you could use it, I guess, on it's a 12 to 24 volt charger. US automatic is a 12-volt system.
Correct.
All right. I know we're about 1 minute over our time. I want to say thank you to everyone for attending this webinar. It was very helpful. I learned a lot again, and I was just on this one 2 days ago. So um, we are happy to sit on here if anyone has more questions. I just want to be very cognizant of your time. But if you have questions, feel free to keep typing away in the chat, and we can go. Otherwise, everybody, thank you very much for attending. I hope you came away with something. With that, thank you very much for coming and spending your valuable time.
Agreed. Yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. I know how busy you are with your schedule, so taking that time means a lot to us.
And we'll hang here for a few minutes and see
Yeah. Yeah, I
if
could I could sit here all day and help people. This is what I enjoy the most.
yeah,
Good.
I believe one thing that certainly didn't, I'm not sure it came up, maybe I missed it. It's very possible is, something that is very true. I've witnessed this is a very low ratio of RMAs with US automatic products.
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in our equipment, and something that I like to be able to proudly taunt out is we're less than 1% of RMAs through most distribution across the nation. And man, it's because we take so much pride in our manufacturing and our testing processes. Everything as it goes through here, whether it be in production or in the final quality control testing, it goes through three different hands before it goes out the door. And if we're having an issue with a product, we're very straightforward. You're never going to hear this. Oh yeah, we've never seen this before. We're really like to attack, and if we have a problem, it gets addressed extremely quickly. And in my 16 years of being here, I've it's been amazing. I mean, like I said, we have one person working our RMA department. If that kind of tells you what I'm talking about. We sell 20, 30,000 motors a year. And with that kind of numbers, we have one person. And our RMA processes is extremely quick. So we're not perfect. And I'll never talk to be or, tell people that I'm perfect. But our turnaround times is 1 to 3 business days and on anything other than a circuit board. If we're repairing a circuit board, we like to take a little bit longer because when we do the testing on that board, we want to ensure that when it gets back in your hands, you are having no problems. The last thing we ever want, and this is me running tech support for 10 years before transitioning into sales, I want every installer to understand that if you find yourself at a US automatic job site more than 2 times in the first 3 years, we want to know about it. We're there to help you. I firmly believe that we have the best customer service in the industry, and that is because we truly care about your time and want to solve that problem for you. So if you find yourself going out to a job site, please, we want to know about it. We're here to help.
We've got maybe two questions. Well, one, and we're revisiting, and I think I know the answer, but I'm letting you do it. Was the gentleman that asked the question? They had another brand operator that worked on 18 volts. They'd like to put it onto US automatic. I mean, wouldn't your charge controller accept that 18 volts?
Yeah, but we're still using a battery with that concept. We're not just trying to
I think
power
they
off.
have a battery.
Okay, then yes, because the transformer that well, you wouldn't even need our transformer with the kit because you already have that. So the answer is yes. You just need to run that into the charge controller.
Yeah, take the existing 18-volt transformer.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, the operator, just to be clear, the US automatic won't run off of the transformer. It's running off of the battery.
correct.
But the transformer can go into the charge controller, which would then go to
Certainly.
the battery and keep the battery charged.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that was in regards to the same, a very similar subject. It says, I used your charge controller on a non-US automatic product that was 24 volts, and when I hooked it up, it started smoking. It's a tough question to answer here.
20. What did you use what was plugged into it?
Yeah, was it a solar
Transformer.
panel? Yeah, was it a solar panel? Was it some type of other transformer? Let's see if I get that answer coming in here. But that's a tough one to answer on
I
here.
mean, I was gonna say I like tough ones. I mean,
Yep.
I'll guess anything. I'm just
Uh,
curious. I mean, the only thing I can think logically there is
24 volt batteries.
it shouldn't have. Well, so if it wasn't our operator, that means that they're utilizing this is why I have this picture. That means if it's our operator, we have everything is plug and play, and it can only go in one direction, like I said earlier. So we have this all-in-one plug and play harness. But if you're using it on another brand operator, you're going to utilize these battery terminals over here. If we did reverse polarity or something along those lines, maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure. I have had, and I'm not saying this is a situation, but I was, that's why I was asking. I have had a couple of people hire out a handyman, if you will, and they thought that 110 would go directly into here, and then they smoked it out. But I didn't think that was the case here. But the only thing I think there is possibly reverse polarity, because I won't name the brands that people have used this on. I just don't go that route. But I could tell you that we could sit here and name almost every single one of the popular brands, and I've seen these on
Okay.
it.
So maybe, Kenneth, that was you. Maybe if you do want to do that again, maybe before we hook it up, contact tech support, make sure we got our wires in the right places. Because it sounds like it can be done and has been done.
Yeah,
It's a good charge controller. And going back, however, if you're using this on a US automatic, as you said, it's plug and play and it's very difficult to get it wrong. Very
yeah,
difficult.
yeah. I mean, and even if you do like a reverse polarity on the solar panel over here, you just won't get this arrow that comes on, and then you'll
Okay.
look at it and go, "Oh, I have it backwards," and then switch it.
But no harm, no foul.
Nope, nope.
Yeah, and I like also, as you said, up to 120 watts can go into that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we definitely wanted to overkill that one because with our old charger, it would only do up to 20, and we had all these questions that people really liked because we specialize not in solar operators. Everybody likes to say we're the solar guys, solar guys, solar guys. Our overall goal is building the most energy efficient operator that we can make. And the reason for that is the cooler we can keep our components, the more energy efficient we make, the longer we last. If we're keeping cool components while operating consistently, that's why our circuit boards and our motors and everything is running 15, 20, 30 years that you see with our company. So it's not the solar guys aspect. It's just like I said, it's being energy efficient overall. So that even in that AC conversation, if we lose power, we're going to run 600 to 900 cycles out of that 35 amp hour battery. There's a lot of guys in this chat, like Tim and Zach, that see us when we go to FinTech and all that. We never have power in our booth. Every single one of those units that you see, they're just running off a battery the whole show, and we're running them hundreds on hundreds of cycles nonstop. So we take a lot of pride in that.
Good way to keep your trade show costs down.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What I will say though is you guys being US Automatic, do solar extremely well. And we do a lot of jobs at CP on solar. I prefer power. If you give me line power, I'm an AC power guy
Me
all day.
too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be the first one to
However,
play.
we get a lot of jobs that would just been too cost prohibitive to get AC power out there. And in the old days, at least in my old days of doing solar jobs, we tried to be, you got a remote, two remotes, maybe a free exit probe, and that's all you got on a job.
Simple. You
And
have to.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you today, you can still do that, still have great success. We probably have tons of jobs still today. However, the technology is out today that the end users want more than that bare minimum on the solar, and we have the technology to do it. Very
Yep.
much so. We can use those accessories that people say we can't. Now we have to design for it. You can't just throw a simple 10-watt panel at it, call it good.
Yep.
But it is very feasible. We do it every day here at Control Products. US Automatic has the charge controller ready to accept it. There is some math, as I say, that goes into solar. There's some math that goes into it. And, Nick's happy to help you. I'm more than happy to help you design those systems. So
Yeah.
solar also doesn't just have to be a single family residence. This equipment is meant for many, many, many uses. So it's not just single family residence.
Oh yeah, I was going to say there's thousands and thousands of our operators on commercial sites. 100 to 150 cycles a day with swings and 200 plus with slides. It's just when it gets up to those high numbers, there's just a few questions I have. There's a lot of questions I have if it's solar, but if it's AC, I really have I'm not even going to bat an eye.
Right.
These things can handle it. We're on so many HOA government stuff. I mean, like I said, our operators are made to run and run and run.
I do have a
Um,
question. On your board, it's never come up, but what is the accessory power milliamp that maximum they give me?
port one, 1.2 amps.
That's a
Port
lot.
12, 1.2 amps.
So I got 1.2 of accessory power right off of the board.
Yep. So port 12 is where we wire our photo eyes into because the photo eyes are not active while the gate is in standby mode.
Right.
So you hit the open close command, the monitored entrapment devices fire up, the photo eyes, and then the gate starts moving. And that's all happening in about zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.5 seconds. But that is a temporary power. So if you only need something while the gate is moving, you can use that. You can also use gate motion. But number one is constant 12-volt 1.2 amp output or
Well,
1.5. Sorry, 1.5, 1.5. The
even
old
more.
boards were 1.2.
Well, I don't see any more questions in there. So
Oh, if there's still people in here, I can't believe I allowed this to go over. The Wi-Fi module. It's extremely energy efficient as well, guys. This is 53 milliamps of standby current draw. So this Wi-Fi module is compared to a lot of our competitors' receivers just for transmitters and keypads. So if you find yourself using this app module, really for the most part, there's only about two states that I would say we need to have a conversation and that you would just upgrade to a 10 watt to a 20-watt solar panel and you will be well over the threshold.
nice.
Really, it's 14 watts, but I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah. There is another question that I do believe you answered early on, but I think it's worth repeating. Jesus
Yes.
asked, are your solar powered units strong enough to hold close and to travel to the closing position in high winds
Oh,
area?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we very much so. It's the using the stainless steel gearbox and it's not just one gear to the motor. We actually use a transmission that's kind of hard to explain, but if you want to really detail, I can show you pictures and all that later. But it powers through wind extremely well. And with that pulse modulation, like I was talking about earlier, it knows the difference as that wind is pushing on that gate. It knows the difference between a current sense and just wind load. So if that wind is pushing on it, it's going to drive through safely, but it is going to drive through.
All right. Well, Nick, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. We had a lot of great questions, fantastic questions, over 20 questions on there. So um, that means people are interested.
Yeah, and another thing, if there's still, just everybody, if you want additional training, if you want this to be more precise and go into a lot more detail, I'd be happy to do this again with those people that want that much detail. Just get with Tim and we'll get it going.
Thanks, Nick, very much. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, buddy.
I know Brett was out there, just had audio issues, and thank you to
Yeah,
Brett.
yeah, he heard everything. He just couldn't. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thank you,
everybody
Tim.
have a great rest of your day. Hope everything goes good. We're almost to Friday.
Almost a Friday. All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Tim. See you guys. Thank you.